Gentlemen, welcome to the American Masterminds Podcast. I am your host tonight, Topher Sheeler. I'm joined by my co-host, the one and only Mr. Jared Bayless.
Happy to be here.
And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a little fun here this evening. We've got one of our brothers with us here tonight. He is, oh man, I don't even know how would you describe Alec, Jared?
And he's a, what's the word I want to go for? You're just a brother, man.
Weirdo.
A bro. You're weird in the right ways.
I would say Alec is, he is well on his way to becoming one of the most interesting men in the world. Yes. That's how I would say it. He's encroaching on it. But I can't wait to get into it. We've got a lot of catching up to do. But first, a quick word from our sponsor, Innoviv.
Hi, I'm Aiden at Innoviv. Are you tired of worrying about what's in your water? Innoviv has the solution. From our whole house water purification systems to our fast-filling reverse osmosis units, we can give your family clean, safe water at every tap. Text us now to schedule your consultation and experience water the way it should be, pure.
Quite honestly, this is one of the truest things that Garrity ever told me was like the timekeepers are really in high drive this year.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. It's something.
I blinked and it went from January to November.
That's how it feels. Honest to goodness.
I don't get it.
Like the last time I saw you was, God, what?
I was trying to figure that out on the way over here. When was the last time?
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Depending on your understanding of the time-space continuum, it's either one day or a year. I have no idea. I really don't know the last time I saw you.
We haven't been on a ride. I think the last would have been like the last podcast we did, but that was ages ago. Was there anything in between that?
We had.
I haven't been on a ride forever.
No, and after Scotty got clipped, it really just died off.
I can't believe that I was the only one that was there for that.
That is the most wild thing of all time.
I saw it happen. Yes.
Okay.
It was the wildest thing that I've ever seen on a motorcycle.
If I have to know, because I haven't actually talked to you about this, okay? Because I have an idea. I know what Scott says happened.
Well, what did Scott say? Let me make sure.
Let me tell you what.
And then you rebuild it in your mind of what.
Because I have a pretty solid idea of what I think happened. Yeah. Okay. And what I think happened is you
earth
went
was falling, hellfire was raining down upon us.
All of a sudden,
that one.
We were getting shot at. The commies were shooting at us, and the only way across the river was this direction.
And my guess is what
made it.
You went, had no problem, followed all the way through, and then my guess is what happened is his back end got a little wavy on him, and then he goosed it, put it down, tried to catch himself, and then the bag came up and clipped his leg.
I'm not gonna lie. It was small. Like in my rearview mirror at that point, I was pretty far ahead. But here's what I remember. It was bad. Like, to give him credit, it was bad. I shouldn't have gone through it. It was bad. I forgot that I was on an 850-pound bike.
Fair enough.
It was not something that I would do again if I was given the opportunity.
This is why you made it, because you felt like you were on the adventure bike.
I felt like I rode it exactly like I was on the adventure bike. Things started getting like wild, and I was just like, "You're just gonna do your thing." Okay, cool. The bike's just doing its thing, and I got through it, and I was like, "Wow, that was pretty wild." It was probably like 3.5 inches, like between 3 and 4 inches of mud that had got sloshed across the entire road for a good distance. I don't know how many, like maybe 50 feet of that. And like our bikes are not meant for that by any means. And it was still super wet and sloshy. And so it got gnarly, and I came out the other side, and I was like, wow, that was bad. And as I was having that thought, I was like, I should look in my rearview mirror. And as I looked in my rearview mirror, I just saw him. He was like fully, like, I could see the entire side of his bike, but he was still moving towards me. I was like, oh no. And then I'm like, save it, Scotty, save it. And he started coming back, and I'm like, yes, he got it. It's all good. And then he started going the other direction. Like, no. And he was like at about this type of an angle and I think he was like, I don't know if it was more throttle or what it was, but he was at about this angle when he met the pavement again. and he didn't high side. Like the bike's so heavy that it just kind of caught traction again. And he couldn't have been going that fast, like maybe 15, 20 miles an hour at that point. But it was fast enough that when he caught traction, it just sent him straight into the ditch.
Oh, geez.
Like at that speed, he just went straight into the ditch. And he told me that he thinks like what he did was put his foot down to try to save himself before he went into the ditch. And I'm sure that's what did it.
I'm sure it was some combination of him, like he had to have given it too much gas because he tensed up.
Yeah,
it would be my guess. And on his bike, especially if he had it in sport mode, right,
it was a lot.
You just needed to, just have to touch that throttle, and then so he did that, and then it spun, and then I think he put his foot down and tried to catch himself.
For sure. I mean, like once the doctor said like, oh, this is too clean of a break, like your bag had to have come up and snapped your leg, like for sure. Yeah, absolutely, that's what happened.
Because it wouldn't have fallen. From what I looked at,
he was totally good. I was fucking. Like I came up and I was like, dude, that was wild. Are you good? And he's like, I broke my leg. I was like, oh, what? He's just chilling there in the mud, and like I didn't see anything wrong with him. Yeah, it's like very like I broke my leg, and I just looked in that moment. I was like, oh, and I looked at his leg, and like that classic like your knees pointed up but your foot's pointed over there. Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, buddy, you broke your leg. And I have like the EMT pack in my, like I always have the EMT pack. And so the first thing that I did was grab out the fucking UV light and I was like, I don't even want to cut your like, I could cut your pants open right now, but I'm just going to like leave. I don't want to touch anything. I'm just going to get the UV light out and see if there's any blood, like at any point in your pants. And there was no blood. I was like, okay, I think you're good. I don't think you're bleeding right now. You seem aware of what's going on, and I can't, like, I don't think you're going to go into any sort of shock response at this point. You seem totally good. So I'm going to ride back down the road to when I get service and call the ambulance for you. Does that sound good, buddy? And he's like, okay, yep, you hurry up with that. So I had to ride back through the fucking mud the other direction. And I rode for...
Wait, you went through the mud twice?
Yeah, both directions.
No way.
Yeah. it was a horrible idea both times. Because if I went down at that point, we were both fucked.
Oh, absolutely.
And I got down. We were only like 2 miles into the ride. Like we had breakfast in Nephi. And you're coming from the Nephi side up. You go up that initial road. And then you make the turn onto the actual Nebo Loop road. We made it 1.5 miles up that road, and that's where the mudslide was. There's like a low point. And it fucked us because there's a rise in the road, so you can't see what's beyond it. And then just beyond that rise in the road was where the mudslide had happened. You start coming back down on the other side of the rise, and the mudslide was right there. So we weren't even speeding. Like we were going the speed limit, maybe 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. I think it's 45 through there. We might have been doing 50. But I got on the brakes. As soon as we went over that rise, I was like, oh, this is fucked. And I like slammed the brakes, and I still couldn't stop before the mud. Like I said, I was at like maybe 20 miles an hour.
I wonder if you didn't just actually carry more speed
I could
through it, and that might have actually been what it is.
Yeah,
he slowed down enough to make it dangerous. I
had enough momentum. Like I've been in some sandy ass shit with the BMW before, and it's like you just learn to just like trust the speed. The speed is your friend. Yeah. And ride it out. Yeah, exactly. You just ride it out. It wants to go straight if you let it go straight. But I had to go back down to that intersection where you turn onto the Nebo Loop, and I checked my phone there, and I still didn't have service. And I was like, dude, this is fucked. Like I could keep riding down for I don't know how long before I get service. And there was construction happening there, so I knew there were stoplights. So instead of doing that, I turned and went left back up the canyon because I knew there were those houses right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And dude, I came screeching into a driveway going like 50, like mud everywhere, dude. Mud all over me, mud all over the bike. Like the bike had giant, like it looked like I'd gone mudding on the fucking Challenger. Ran up to this dude's door. I could like see that he was watching football. This was a Sunday ride. I could see that he was watching football. And I knocked on his door, and he opened his door, and I'm just like, hey, my friend broke his leg. I need to use your phone. And he starts freaking out because he has no clue how bad. I like probably could have phrased it better, but I was very blunt. I was just like, hey, my friend just broke his leg. I need to use your phone. And he was like, oh God, okay, all right. And he just starts like running around his house. hands me a landline. I was like, if you live up here, you have to have a landline.
You have to have something. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I called 911, and 30 minutes later, there was an ambulance picking Scott up off the road.
My goodness. I'm so happy you were there. Wild. Truly, that's wild.
I was like, I do not want to use a tourniquet on my friend right now.
No, that would be terrible.
I'm very glad that it was not an open fracture.
Although I would have paid big money for the picture of Scotty with a tourniquet on the back of your bike and you guys run to the hospital.
I would have done it if it had to happen. I would have done it. But we got some cute EMTs out of it, so it was all good. They were both married.
Well, I appreciate you trying anyway.
I did.
Yeah, I bet you did. It was also really cool too, because like on our end up here, I don't know where in the story you called me, but we had 2 guys down there with a trailer within a reasonable amount of time. Yeah, it was really cool to watch.
So I got Scotty in the ambulance. I sent him on his way down to the hospital, and then that was the next thing. I got down to the bottom of the canyon, and I said, "Hey, let's just we need to." You were the first person I called. I was like, "I got problems."
Well, you did the same thing to me as you did to the guy. Like,
hey,
the way that you said, no, you didn't tell me that. You said I have to take Scott to the hospital.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
And, like, you didn't give me. You go like you said something.
I think I said Scott's on his way to the hospital. We got to deal with a bike now.
Something along those lines. But you didn't say he just broke his leg and he was going to be fine. Okay. What it alluded to, because what I immediately did is I went, okay,
comatose.
I got to get.
Might or might not come back, but we got to focus on this bike right now.
Yeah. Well,
because if he goes into a coma, his family can't deal with that towing bill.
That's also true, and I appreciate you thinking about that, honestly. And let's be honest, taking care of the bikes is the most important thing that we have to do.
I didn't even think about explaining it, because he was in such good spirits by the time he got loaded into that ambulance. It was funny because I came back to him, I made the phone call, got an ambulance on the way, and then I'm like, I rode through the mud 3 times. Because
oh my God.
No, that's not true. I left my bike on the other side of the mud on the way back. I left my bike on the rise because I realized you could come over that rise and a car also wouldn't know that there's a giant mudslide there, and a car would make it through just fine, but they also could potentially slide out, and my friend is in the ditch right there. So I left my bike at the top to kind of signal hey, something bad happened here. And by the time I got back though, there were 4 cars stopped, and I distinctly remember walking up, and Scott just had a smile on his face, and he's like, "Hey, Alec, I made a whole bunch of new friends. This is Dave. He likes long walks on beaches." And I'm just okay, you're fine. You're going to be okay, bud.
I wish you would have translated a little bit of that to us, because I thought I was in the worst case scenario, when I called Kira, and I was like, "Hey,
I don't know what's happening.
I have no idea, but I need you to be calm."
I should have been more clear about that.
Yeah.
It was so clear to me that he was okay that I didn't even think to communicate that. I was just Scott's on the way to the hospital and we need to deal with his bike. I feel like if he was dying, I would have you would expect me to communicate that clearly.
That's fair.
So I just and the fact that I'm now focused on his bike kind of also implies that he's good.
Yeah.
If I'm focused on the bike, he's good. If he's dying, the bike can fucking stay in the ditch.
Well, to an extent, yeah.
Well, it's a nice bike.
It's a nice bike. It's all fixed up.
I rode it out.
Did you really?
I rode it out of that mud pit.
No way.
So by the time, we got Trent, and who else came?
Trent and Todd.
Oh, yeah, and Todd brought one of his friends who had a trailer.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
An actual motorcycle trailer with the wheel chock and everything. And they all Trent showed up first. We were trying to figure out his winch because I was like, dude, we're gonna have to pull this thing out of the
winch the winch that didn't have a winch in it.
Didn't have a winch controller for, dude. I'm like, how you got an F-350 with a winch that you have never touched before?
That truck has never seen dirt in its life.
I'm sure that was
beautiful
the most
truck.
mud that truck's ever seen. No, I was very glad that he was there because I needed big muscly man to help me with this.
Yeah.
But by the time we got back up there, so we were trying to figure that out at the gas station at the base of the canyon. And then by the time we got back up to the bike, someone had uprighted it. It was down in the ditch, in the ditch. And I was like, this is going to take a lot of work to get it up, even just to get it upright. You're in a bog full of mud, actual slick mud. And by the time we got up there, someone had uprighted it and put the kickstand out and stacked a bunch of rocks. And it was completely upright.
No way.
Still don't know who did it.
I wonder, did you see, so you did a couple of things. You sent a Facebook message out.
I put it in the Utah Motorcycle Riders
Right.
group.
Did you see like the second comment on it? Was somebody that felt so bad
because
they saw us, or they saw you.
They saw us passing him, and they had waved down every other rider, and for some reason it slipped their mind with us.
Yeah. And they felt super, super bad. Like they tried calling, is it you or somebody?
I think they messaged Scott directly.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, they felt terrible.
Yeah, they felt really bad about it. It could have been them. I don't know. I wouldn't I have no clue still to this day who that was, but they were an angel, because that saved us a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have been one dude. That had to have been a group of dudes to get that bike up right.
Even just picking that bike up without any mud.
That's what I'm saying.
It's way heavier than it looks.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And it's well slung. Like the weight's well slung, but to get it from it wasn't just like, tipped over. It was like upside down over. Like it was in the ditch upside down. You do have to give a half a degree to Honda though, because it started right up. They trailered it up to my house. Yep.
And pulled it off the trailer, started right up. I drove
Did you hear how much it was to replace all the plastics though?
Oh yeah, I went and dropped it off.
Holy mother of God. That is a lot of money in plastics.
About $12,000 in plastic.
That's wild.
Because it didn't do any actual damage.
I rode it.
Yeah. I drove it
into reverse and reversed it out of a mud bog. And I was like, damn, this bike's really good.
The crazy part is I took it to the car wash before I took it to Honda.
Yeah.
And just hosed it off.
It looked fine.
It actually looked fine. I thought,
a few scrapes and scratches.
I honestly was like, I think you could buff this out, and it might have to.
Dude,
there's a couple here.
Crack a bag.
No, nothing was actually broken.
No,
we're talking about scratches.
He went down. It was first the mud helped him. It was like a pillow.
Yeah,
didn't help his leg, but it helped the bike.
No,
and the fact that there was mud on the road, like it never touched. I don't think it slid on asphalt at all.
It didn't. It certainly didn't look like it.
Yeah, I think it only slid on mud, on very nice soft mud.
Well, it happened to get into everything. That was one of the problems. Everything.
Did you like the little tie? I don't know if you opened up any of the bags. I put the EMTs left a little slice of his jeans in the dude. If you didn't open any of the bags, I hope it's still in there.
It very well could be.
Because when we got back, the bike was upright. So there were two things that stood out to me. One, the bike was upright. Two, there was a little sliver of jeans on the highway where they had cut his pants open. And I just took that little sliver of jeans. I'm like, oh, you're coming with me. And I opened the trunk and put it in the trunk.
I'd have to look because he hasn't looked at it.
I really hope it's in there.
I'll go look. It's in my garage right now.
If the Honda dealership moved that, we got to call them because we got problems.
The crazy part is, you know what Scott was most upset about? He lost his jeans. He only has 2 pairs. They'd been on like 3 years with those, and his shoes were actually ruined. Okay, which for him is saying something because I've seen like those shoes didn't have anything left to him anyway.
Yeah,
and he had to go buy some new ones. He said he was upset about it.
I'd be more upset about the bill, but hey, teach their own.
I don't know. What's $30,000 in medical bills and $15,000 of.
He has really good insurance, doesn't he?
Not to him, but
that's
total
how much
amount.
it costs.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, if he had to pay $30,000, like.
Oh no!
Work for a reputable company. You should ask about your insurance.
No, he was
plan.
all fine. As a matter of fact, he was like $200 off of his deductible when this all happened because diabetes and stuff.
Maximum? Hit.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Can't ask for more. $200. All right, you guys take care of the rest. I'm staying. You're ready to go home.
No, I think I'm good. Just look at that. The other one.
But now he's like, what else can we add to this? I don't know. I've never actually gotten this far.
When I tore my ACL, I was like, I need to get my eyes checked. I need to go do my blood work. I'm gonna just do everything.
That's what he did. He's got a new pump that he's like the latest and greatest coming.
Yeah, one of the back arm ones. Nice.
No, he has that one, like the actual pump. Yeah.
Oh, super cool.
I wish he would wear it, but
yeah,
whatever. Worst diabetic.
Diabetics, like for some reason, like I was hanging out with a diabetic, and she's like, "Oh, it's really just more of a minor inconvenience." And then like a week later, she's like, I feel like my eyes are popping out of my skull because my blood pressure is going like this, and they don't have the I'm like, this is not a minor inconvenience. This is like a really serious thing.
It depends on how you like. I grew up with my dad.
But if you treat it like a minor inconvenience, it's going to become a really serious.
Oh, it's a terrible. If you don't respect it, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah,
like your blood sugar is going up and down like that is an actual problem. Yeah. Now, in the same breath, it just takes a little bit of discipline. It's not the end of the world.
Carnivore diet.
Carnivore. If I got diabetes, I would 100% give that a chance.
Yeah,
because I genuinely think it would. There's anecdotal evidence of people that have done that.
Oh yeah.
And I'd give it a try.
Well, did it work for Scott when he was done? He did it for a very short period of time.
Yeah, and his AOC or A1Cs were perfect the entire
never
time.
Had to use insulin, one shot of insulin a day or something.
Yeah,
when he was down from like 11.
Yeah.
Well, which is wild.
But apparently, peanut butter and Oreos is just a far better deal.
I've noticed now because I've got like a few diabetic friends. Like everyone switched to everyone who doesn't have the pump has switched to the thing that's like you do the little clicks on it and then you just like pop it in there and it's like really easy to use. And Scott has always been like the vial of fucking insulin and like a legit ass needle. It's like you are dedicated to the cause.
Well, that little thing that you're talking about, that little twist and click thing, that is like 4 times the amount of what that vial of that he uses, really? And it's that little thing that I don't know what they call it, but yeah, it's like one of the most expensive insulin devices that you can get.
Oh, so he's just going for economics here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Because you can get insulin, and not only can you get it in the vial, and it's cheaper, you can also get generic version of it as well. And
it leaves more room in the bank for Oreos.
Well, yeah,
kind of cancels it out if you're eating Oreos and peanut butter. You're going to buy more insulin.
How many?
You can buy 4 times as much insulin, which means you can eat a fuckload more Oreos.
That would be funny if it wasn't his actual thought process, is all I'm trying to say. I've had that conversation with him. Yeah, like, Scott, we can't actually do that. But I see my dad, say whatever you want about him. He's, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and got a theory about everything, but he does have that under control, and it's because
I love your dad from a distance.
Yeah, no. Moving down here has been one of the greatest things ever. I've got just enough distance to make sure that we have fun, but it is what it is.
Perfect. But just call first.
Yeah. Well, it's out of the realm of like you have to call first on this. Hey, you can't just stop by. No, not so much.
I just drove an hour and a half. I'm just stopping by.
Nah, it's not a thing. Not even close. But the point of that is like just having a little bit of discipline.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Say whatever you want about it, but Dad's up. He goes to the gym.
Yep.
Breakfast is between 8:30 and 9. Lunch is at noon.
I'm with him now, dude.
And like it's an actual thing. And he doesn't have he takes a quarter of the insulin that Scott does.
Oh, I didn't even. So he is diabetic. I didn't realize he was diabetic.
My dad?
Oh, no. I had forgot. I had suppressed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like I
suppressed that.
I've grown up a diabetic my entire life, basically. And I compare, he may have a theory about everything in the world going on, especially about that. But again, just oh yeah.
What's his conspiracy theory behind diabetes?
He is 100% convinced that he doesn't. Oh, dude.
Yeah, buddy.
You haven't met my dad. This is Alec. We'll get a nostalgia. We'll go down this one. Okay. So no, he is convinced that he doesn't actually have diabetes.
Oh.
Okay. He has the symptoms of diabetes. What he thinks now.
Which are cured by the cure for diabetes.
Here's the worst part about Dad's theories. Okay. When he's locked onto one, the doctors can't. But the doctors can't disprove it either. Okay, this particular one. So we have a genetic condition in my family that, and I have it too, hemochromatosis. The body makes too much iron. Okay, so his theory is that built up around his pancreas. Okay, and that's what shut it down. His pancreas didn't die like it would as a real diabetic.
Right.
It built up around it and shut it down. The reason the doctors can't tell him no is because he gets random bursts out of his pancreas. It will make insulin. Yeah. Huh. So he's had it since he was 28, 29 when he got it. And this was back before everybody had it. This was before
it's just
way
a dietary
before
thing now. Oh, you've eaten in the US? So
yeah.
You probably have diabetes.
What is the what'd you call it? Hemochromatosis?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's just that to a pregnant woman, my blood is the very best thing that you could possibly get. I make too much iron.
Huh. Doesn't have
the opposite of anemic.
Effect on you?
No, the way that you're supposed to. So the girls are actually carriers predominantly of it, but they have a natural process to siphon some blood off once a month. The way to fix it for a guy is I'm supposed to go give blood every month and take it off.
Take iron off.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I have a different theory on that as well.
Oh, of course you do.
Because, well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. No, because of my younger years, because my iron levels are I'm the lowest in the family. Okay. But because I had such strenuous workouts, there was never a break from 10 years old to 30, basically.
You're actually expending it?
I actually got my body running and pumping on it.
Huh.
So I don't have the last time I got it done, my iron was at like 18, which is right, a little on the high side, but 100% within the normal range.
Nice.
And remember NO Explode? Well, I can't think of the.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Pre-workout.
It dilates your blood vessels and whatnot. Okay, so using that, this is just a theory, but the circulation of everything, because I was flat out addicted to it for so long. Yeah.
Other problems with that.
Sure, but solid on the iron. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Super interesting. But Scotty, if you're going to listen to this, please, for the love of God, from all of us here,
we love you.
Try to figure it out a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Or wear the pump, one or the other.
Do carnivore.
Oreos are nice. They're good. Dude, when I spent too much time with Scott, it wasn't too much time. When I spent a lot of time with Scott, it became too much because of how many Oreos I was eating.
It's an absurd. He's gotten better.
He was a bad influence on me. Like when I was like 18, 19, it was literally a full pack of Oreos. You'd sit down, you have a full thing of milk, like whatever the box, not the like jug, but the box. You know, you gotta be reasonable. And like the quart of milk, whole milk. Fuck all that other stuff. Whole milk.
Because you can.
Because you have an 18-year-old metabolism. Full quart of milk, 3 rows of Oreos, and a jar of peanut butter. Boom. That's a night right there.
Dude.
One night.
You know what's sad is that currently makes my stomach turn.
Dude,
I couldn't do it now. I couldn't do it.
I would throw up.
I
absolutely. I would 100% throw up.
I eat 2 Oreos now, and I'm like, that was perfect.
Yeah.
It's a little sweet, but it was good.
Yeah. No milk.
No,
yeah, no milk.
I don't need the milk.
If there's no 1%.
No, I found out the other night. So it's obvious, but I didn't know like the science behind it. But there's 3 different body types that people have. I can't remember what they are, but there's 3 different body types. You've got like the slim body type. You've got the kind of more athletic, what you would consider like an athletic build, like V-shaped body type, and you've got like I think the one that I am is endomorphic, which is like the more pear-shaped, bulbous. But the way that I can like maintain a good physique with that is just eating, which I've been doing, but I was trying to quantify what was happening. Like I feel and look better than I ever had before, and it's been really low carb, high fat, high protein diet. And that's exactly what endomorphs need because we got slow metabolisms and we hang on to fat. So if you do like very few carbs, but not everyone like the slender people, they need a lot of carbs. They need a ton of carbs.
There are like super skinny people, but there's enough science out here. The vast majority of people,
endomorphic is the most common body type that you can have. Yeah.
The vast majority of people up your fat, up your protein, and just see what happens.
Yeah. That's what I've been doing. Like I said, I put on 30 pounds of muscle this year.
That's impressive. You look fantastic. Like even with the sweatshirt and whatnot, you can see it.
It's underneath.
Don't tease me with a good time.
But yeah, no, I'm up to. So I mean, you knew me back like when I was 18, 19, and dude, I was like a twig.
Yeah.
I was 165 pounds, 170 pounds on a good day, and 5'11", and now I'm 5'11", 205. Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody goes through a little adjustment period.
Yeah.
You got to get out of the younger part of yours.
A lot of pods. So.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
That kept me pretty slender.
Which is super ironic too, because it actually speeds up your metabolism. That's why you get the munchies.
Yeah. And I just tried to not munchy all the time.
Imagine if you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Can't
at all. But also need to sleep. So pick your poison.
Yeah, this has been a full year, or like this year has been the first like year where I really haven't been a pot smoker.
You've had one hell of a year this year.
Dude, it's been wild.
And it's been like it started off with the ACL tear.
That was like the impetus. That was the catalyst for all the change in my life. Yeah. It just, I talked about this like in previous podcasts, but it gave me a lot of gratitude for all the little things. Like when you can't shit or shower by yourself, like when you need help for those things, it puts into perspective what really matters. Like all these other things that you think you care about, you don't actually care about. You care about being able to shit by yourself. That's a big thing. If you can do that, everything else is going to work out.
You can wipe your own ass. You're going to be okay.
It was just like stacking wins, like from that point. And really, it was like a little. It was that dose of gratitude of like, yeah, like. And I don't necessarily think you need to have a traumatic event, but it's like very common that when you have, and like tearing your ACL isn't a hugely traumatic event. Like it could have been a lot worse, but for me, like that was a big deal. Like I live a very active lifestyle, and so it changed everything for me. And the big thing for me was that it gave me that gratitude, and it gave me an opportunity to do like a hard reset. Like when I was bedridden for 4 weeks. I couldn't do anything for 4 weeks, and so all of the normal habits that had built up over years of just like. The way that I describe it is like you're just running through life. Most of us are just like sprinting through life. And once you gain enough momentum in a certain direction, you're not like slowing down and making a hard 90-degree turn. Like you're making little adjustments and you're sprinting. So that momentum is mostly what's carrying you. And if you start off in a certain direction, like with bad habits in certain regards, you're just going to keep stacking on to those bad habits. So this like completely halted the momentum for me and allowed me to make that 90-degree turn that I needed to make. And it was just like all the bad habits, like the smoking, the vaping, I had already quit vaping, but like the smoking, the not really having good daily habits. Like I didn't have a morning routine. I didn't have like I didn't have a good eating program. I didn't have a good exercise program. Like all of these things that I built up this year came because I was just sitting there reflecting. I was like, why is my life like it's good, but it feels like it sucks? And it was all of those things that I was missing. And so I just started stacking them like a little bit at a time, just small things. Like, and it was because of the people that I was really lucky that I had surrounded myself with good people who had imparted these like, hey, you should try this thing or that thing. And it's really good. It's helped me a lot. And I just started taking all those little bits of advice and implementing them. And here we are. It's been a year. I tore my ACL on November 2nd.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now, so where's the knee at right now?
The knee itself is at 100%. The quad muscle strength relative to my good leg is still at about 75%, like 75%. Which part of that is because you can't really rehab one leg without building muscle in the other leg. So it's offset that a little bit. But then the other thing is just like it takes a long time to get the muscle back. They set my expectations, right? Like year and a half before you're at 100% like muscle strength and you feel totally normal. Like my knee feels really good. I still can tell that it's like, it's not right. Like there's something.
Well, do you have a little hiccup in your brain still where you're kind of thinking about it too?
When we were talking off the podcast, we were talking to Trent about the whole mind muscle connection. Like it's very real. Like my mind still is like, that's not quite right. But in terms of functionality, it's at 100% now. I can do all the normal stuff. I can do box jumps and hard pivots and everything that I normally do. So, yeah, it feels good. Lifting heavy things.
That's awesome, man. It was really kind of fun to watch you go through that. I know. So you came in.
I'm glad.
Well, not that. I'm talking like the growth that came out of it. You know, like you started with really, which is funny because your diet going into the ACL was rice, lentils, and beans, I believe.
It wasn't a bad diet. It was the cheapest diet that you could call relatively healthy. It was just like, beans, rice, and chicken.
Yeah. Over and over and over again.
All the time. Every time.
And so you dive, because I remember having a conversation with you of like, I don't know about that, the carnivore thing.
Well, dude, I went through I went through a bunch of different stuff. I went through, like obviously when I was recovering, it was just kind of like whatever. Like there wasn't a huge focus. It was just kind of trying to make it healthy, but still like your body needs a lot to recover from a surgery of that like level of that caliber. So I was eating a lot of calories, like probably 3,000 calories or 4,000 calories a day, but trying to make them really healthy. And then my family, specifically my mom, she started getting really into like veganism. And so I was just around them. So I was like, sure, yeah, why not? We'll give that a shot. And it was actually really good in the sense that it put me on the train of thought that raw foods are best. Like that, I think, is the quantifiably best part of veganism, is that it, not so much these days, because now you can just get fake vegan meat that's just as processed as anything else,
and arguably way worse for you than
could be. You can make the argument that some are worse than others and you can find better ones, but regardless, like what it pushes you towards is, if you really want to be a healthy vegan, it's raw foods. Raw foods dominate the diet.
You don't cook the nutrients out of all the food, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you can have raw vegetables, uncooked stuff, you're maintaining as much of those nutrients as possible. So that got me down the road of that train of thought, is like raw foods are better. And then I just have, from that point, added large quantities of meat back into that same conceptual framework of like raw foods are best. And it's a big focus for me now on like lean fish. Like I think that's probably, for me, for my body type, I think is probably the best, just because it's got all the good fats. You got your omega-3s and everything that you need in terms of fat, but it's still relatively low fat content, and a really, really good bang for your buck in terms of calories to protein. So that's kind of where I'm at now, is mostly fish, and then still a lot of red meat. So it's like kind of red meat, fish, and just like as many, like you can't overeat vegetables. That's the other thing I figured out. Like I am a binge eater. Like that's just something I like to eat, a lot of food, and I can't physically consume too many vegetables. Like I will fill myself up to the brim, and it's like, dude, you just ate like 55 calories of spinach. Like you can't overdo it. No, you actually can't overdo it.
The other one I can't fill up on is eggs. You ever sat down and tried to eat eggs until you couldn't eat them anymore?
No, that sounds unpleasant. I did used to eat a lot. Like when I was in college, we like the Costco packs of eggs, where it's like a pallet of eggs. We were going through those like multiple times a week. We ate a lot of eggs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever egged myself out.
I've eaten 13 at one sitting, and was like, I could do more. Like this is this is silly. I can't get full on them. I feel the same way about.
Yeah, now now everything is like whatever the portion of protein is, right? Like you're trying to get maybe, I don't know, whatever your quantity is based on your body weight. For me, like I'm trying to hit that, like, you know, maybe 45 grams of protein and whatever my main protein portion is for that. And then just like 6 cups of spinach and garlic and peppers and like all sorts of stuff to spruce up. Like you can do all sorts of things to like make it taste really good. Cause I used to just like if I ate spinach and chicken, it was literally just spinach and chicken. I'm like, how do people eat? This is fucking disgusting. This does not taste good. And I realized like, oh, they're adding other stuff to it to make it taste good. You're going to have all sorts of other stuff, like pickled stuff. You can add pickled stuff all day, like or all sorts of different pickled stuff, like jalapenos and like actual pickles and all sorts of different stuff like that. That it's like you're literally not adding any calories, but you're adding a ton of flavor.
You can also salt until you're blue in the face, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, if it's good salt.
If it's good salt, real salt. But yeah, you can do that, and raw pepper and whatnot will go a long ways.
Salt, pepper, good seasonings for sure. But that's what. So that's like my diet now. Got a good morning routine. Got a good diet. Got a good.
Well, let's check in on that, because we haven't talked about the morning routine, and I know that one for at least 9 months or so now.
Yeah, it's been consistent. So it's been without fail.
Really?
So I mean, I'll take at most. I think I've taken like a few days off. But I will never take a few days off of everything all at once. Like I've been traveling a lot recently, and the big problem that I've come across in my travels is that it's really hard to find places to do cold plunges or even cold showers. Like hotels don't have cold enough showers to actually get a cold shower in. So that's been a tough one. But I still find ways around it where I can. But yeah, so my morning routine is wake up first thing. First thing I do, this is a little weird, but I do a Spanish lesson. I don't really know why that's been the first.
Well, you're going to Texas, so I suppose that's probably a good move. I probably
need to actually start using it because, I know a lot of Spanish words, but conversation's still tough for me. But I'm on like 778 days of Spanish lessons.
Wow, good for you.
It's a lot of Spanish. But I just do like a single, like 1 or 2 lessons every morning. I think the main reason that I do that is usually I wake up and the first thing I have to do is pee. And it's like a good thing I'll just like sit on the toilet and instead of scrolling through Instagram, I just do a Spanish lesson. It's like a way to like feel like you're on your phone, but you're not really on your phone. I'm thinking next year I'm going to switch this where I do my gratitudes first, just so that I'm not immediately looking at a screen. Because I think that's the one thing I'm doing wrong is immediately looking at a screen. But I do a Spanish lesson while I'm peeing. Then I go back to the desk, sit down, do gratitudes, do like a full page of gratitudes, usually about 5 to 7 minutes worth of gratitudes. I like the Rob's, like you just write it out fully. I am grateful for blank. I'm grateful for blank. And you just go through and as many things as you can come up with in that period of time. And then I'll do thought journaling now. So that's like, I was doing it like weekly usually. Now I do it pretty much daily where I just go through I usually will go to bed. So now we're skipping ahead. I'll usually go to bed and think about the things that I need to do in the morning or the things I need to do the next day. And so I'll wake up and I'll have processed some of that stuff. And maybe there's other things going on there in terms of where my priorities have shifted and why I think certain things are important. So I'll write that stuff down. And if just other stuff comes to me in my dreams or whatever, I'll just write that stuff down. And if there's stuff that's sticking out to me after a night of sleep, I feel like that's probably something important enough to write down. So I'll do thoughts, just like a small page of thoughts. Then once I'm done with that, then we start action. We start movement. During the summer, I like to go outside and get 3 to 5 minutes of just sun exposure. Now we wake up and it's dark, so that sucks.
It's the worst.
So now the first thing I do is go into motion and I do push-ups and sit-ups. So I do 3 minutes of push-ups, 3 minutes of sit-ups, and I alternate back and forth on those, and I do 9 minutes total on each. Just a super quick thing, right? And if I need to cut that down, if I'm running late or something, I'll just do 3 minutes of each. Yeah. That's a 6 minutes, and you feel great afterwards, right? So anywhere from 6 to 18 minutes of workout in the morning exercise. It's not really a workout. It's just a little bit of exercise.
Get the blood moving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'll do a little bit of breath work. However much, this is kind of the thing that I prioritize the least, but I think it's really important if you have time to do it. So anywhere from 2 to 15 minutes of breath work. And it's just whatever breath work works for you. So it's kind of like a square breathing technique. Through the mouth, you're doing I do belly, chest, exhale, belly, chest, exhale. You do that, you increase the rate, and then every 2 minutes or so, I do a hold my breath for about 2 minutes, minute to 2 minutes, and then exhale, and then go back into that same rhythm. I feel super I don't know what it is. That's my cup of coffee now. It feels super good. Doing the workout, doing the exercise, and then doing that is an amazing combo. Feels awesome. And then jump straight into a cold shower, do about 5 to 10 minutes of cold shower. All of this is super dependent on how much time I have. I can compress this routine down to 15 minutes if I need to. And I'm just bang, bang, bang. We're just doing we're going to do 1 set of push-ups. We're going to do a half a page of gratitudes. We're going to do 1 paragraph of thoughts, whatever we can do. Or just that's where I start cutting things out. If I'm super short on time, it's all right, we're not going to do thoughts this morning. We'll just do gratitudes, jump straight into the exercise. But yeah, that's after the cold shower, then I'm in to get dressed, get ready for the day. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a girlfriend right now?
Nope.
No.
Nope. A lot of girls in my life, but no girlfriend.
Hey, that's good job, sir. Keep going.
It's kind of hard to be tied down right now. So much stuff going on, moving, travel. I honestly I would feel bad if I was in a committed relationship just because of how little time I have to commit to it. I'm running 3 different businesses basically, or I have 3 different jobs. One business of mine, which is 3 jobs in one job. And then another big job, and then another 9 to 5 that I'm currently trying to phase out so that I can stop juggling 10 chainsaws at once. But all of that plus traveling the country all the time, it's just too much.
Well, that's pretty cool though. I am envious of that. It's there's a real way to halt that production and morning routines real fast. Have a kid.
Yeah,
I believe and find out real quick.
Even traveling, it's hard. The thing that I've noticed about traveling, for me is the morning routine was so ingrained that it stuck fairly well. But the diet, Like, especially when you're eating out all the time.
Well, especially if you're going to meet somebody and they want to take you out,
Yeah,
you know,
for sure,
that stuff stacks up fast.
That happens a lot. And so for me, I've been having to be a lot more conscious about, like, I am a big believer that you can make just like common sense decisions when you're going out to eat that will keep you like on the right track. You might go over on your calories a little bit. The other problem I have is like the sunken cost fallacy, where it's like, dude, I paid for this whole meal. I'm going to eat the whole thing. But it's like realizing, like, if you're full and you're halfway through the plate, like, dude, you're an adult and you paid for that meal. You can do whatever the fuck you want with it. You don't want to eat the whole thing? That's fine. Don't eat the whole thing. And you shouldn't.
That is a weird college carryover, isn't it?
Dude,
because
it's like, I'm gonna eat the whole thing.
I'm eating out.
Fry.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been having to get out of that habit, and I've been better about it. This last trip that I took, I was way better about it. But I definitely gained I gained a little bit of unhealthy weight the first couple of weeks that I was traveling, because I was just like, I'm on vacation. This does not count, and I ate way too much, and like just bad, like just poorly.
Yeah.
But you can.
I think that is one thing about traveling, because like if you're not used to traveling a lot,
yeah,
right. The
Dude,
first couple, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're on
vacay,
vacay, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh,
yeah,
we're in Texas. Whataburger.
You can be working 12-hour days and still somehow consume 12,000 calories.
Oh yeah.
Like, how'd I do that? I don't know. I went out
one trip to Whataburger.
Yeah, legitimately. Yeah. Well, I ate, but I started eating at 9 p.m. and I consumed 8,000 calories between 9 p.m. and 1 a.m.
Oof.
Yeah.
So
ice cream. Oh,
so talk to us. So okay.
In Austin.
Ice cream in Austin.
Oh my God.
As
so good.
I spent a lot of time in Texas in baseball.
Yeah.
You're gonna have fun. You're on the right track.
I'm having fun.
There's a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
The only city I haven't been to is actually Austin. And I
really?
hear nothing but
dude.
the very, like, if you like the rest of Texas, you're going to love Austin.
You want to go to a place where, like, you can walk into a, like, music venue, like a dive bar, and you look in the corner and there's a horse in the corner. You're just like, that's weird. That's Austin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is kind of like, if you get a chance, go up to the stockyards in Fort Worth.
Okay.
Because it's a bunch of bars that they converted the old, like, cattle, oh God, like the market or whatever.
Oh, no shit.
And they converted them all into bars.
Dude.
There are actual cows and horses right there.
I'm about it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun down there.
The horse is a friend of the doorman, so that's why he's let in.
Oh, really?
That's not a joke. Like, that actually happened.
Huh.
Yeah.
Texas is a weird place, man. Also, you can just, if you're going down the street, you see big houses, you might also find some lions and tigers, because they have the highest population of those there too.
It's a weird place and some weird people doing some weird shit.
Well, they really take that
Tony episode.
What?
Yeah, that was a complete fluke that I was able to see a Kill Tony episode.
How?
I thought about it last minute. Like Sunday night, I was like, "Fuck, Kill Tony's on Monday night." I didn't get tickets, and I looked, and it's like sold out for 2 months. I'm like, all right. So I do some Googling, I do some digging. It's like, yeah, there's a standby line, but you got to show up like 4 hours early, and even if you do that, there's a slim to no chance that you're going to get in. They might take 1 or 2 people. They'll fill every seat. So if anyone doesn't show up, you will get in. But like, you have to be at the front of the standby line. So Monday comes around. I end up having to work late. So I don't get off work till like 6. And then of course it's fucking, again, I was eating unhealthily, and I'm like, I need to have a giant plate of barbecue. So I went to, and people will argue this is the worst barbecue place, but I went to Terry Black's barbecue. I thought it was delicious. The line there is absurd. You're like in line for an hour to get barbecue. So by the time I finished that and eating, it was like 8. I'm fucked. So I'm like, I'm still going to try it. So I take a scooter over, I scoot my ass on over to 6th Street. And by the time I get there, dude, there's like 25 people in the standby line.
Oh, no.
I'm fucked. So I stand in the standby line, and this really weird, awkward dude comes up to me, and he's like, "Hey, dude, do you know if anyone's trying to sell their tickets?" I'm like, I'm in the standby line. If I knew someone trying to sell tickets right now, this is not the line I'd be in. And, but he was just being really weird about it. He's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if I want to sell my tickets." And I'm like, I've been scammed a few times in my life, sir. And this feels like that.
Yeah.
And so I said, "Well, dude, if you decide you want to sell your tickets, like, just let me know." I'm done. Like, I didn't really want to push it or anything. I was just like, I don't really want to do business with you. So carry on. And he, like, after, a minute of that weird conversation, he wanders off. And then I look like 5 minutes later, I look over and sure enough, he's like in the back of the line to get in. And like with all the other ticket holders, I'm like, motherfucker, he actually had a ticket. And then he comes back over to me like 5 minutes after that. It's been like 10 minutes from our initial conversation. He's like, dude, I just found someone who wants to give away their tickets.
Wait, what?
I'm like, okay, again, I've been scammed before. What is in this for you at this point? Like, you're just trying to give me a ticket? What, you want me to leave the standby line so your friend can get one line or one place closer in this line? Like, none of us are getting in. And I'm like, okay, dude, you tell the guy who wants to give away his ticket to come talk to me directly and we'll make a deal. And he's like, cool.
Yeah, I'm not leaving the standby line, but come on.
He walks away, and like 3 minutes after that, another random dude with a giant beard comes up to me, and he's like acting really fucking weird, but he seems like a normal dude, but he's like just looking at me, and he's looking back, and he's looking at me, and he's looking at the back of the line. I realize he's looking at the awkward dude from the initial conversation, and he just points like this one? Is this the guy? And the awkward guy at the back of the line's like, yeah, that one.
That's the guy.
That's the guy.
That's the guy.
And he turns and looks at me. He's like, you want to get into Kill Tony? I'm like, yeah, I want to get into Kill Tony. He's like, come with me. And so we walked like towards the front of the line. And he had a group of 3 dudes at the front of the line. And they had bought a whole table, which is 4 seats. And they just had an extra seat. And they were just trying to fill it. And they were literally getting their like tickets scanned in that moment. And the girl's like, do you not have a 4th person? And they're like, I don't know. And somehow the awkward guy from the initial conversation's right there. And he's like, I know someone who'll take that ticket. So I got
we go way back.
So we go at least 15 minutes back right now. So I got a free ticket to Kill Tony. I got to hang out with these dudes. It was 2 dudes from Dallas. And I can't remember where the 3rd guy was from. He might have been from Austin. But yeah, they were all, the 2 dudes from Dallas were like legit funny comedian type dudes. Only one of them had signed up for the show. His girlfriend had just broken up with him. Big bummer. But he was going to do a minute on his girlfriend breaking up with him, and it was fucking hilarious. Like, he did them. I was so sad that they didn't call his name. But we just went in there, and then I thought for sure, okay, here's the scam, right? This makes sense to me now. It's a 2-drink minimum.
Oh, you had to buy the drinks.
I'm going to buy the drinks. I, at that point, was willing to buy the drinks. I was like, you just got me into Kill Tony. I could not have.
How much are tickets normally?
Like $40.
Oh, wow.
They're
okay.
cheap.
All right.
So they sell out immediately. So I'm thinking like, okay, I'm going to spend $200 on this tab. Like, whatever. Fair trade. Touche. You got me.
Well, table, were you close up front? Yeah.
Yeah. We were like about maybe a third of the way back, which is like actually really good because you've got like you can see the whole stage. You're not too close where you're like doing one of these and like looking back and forth. It's like you can kind of see the whole thing, but you're like immersed enough in it that it's a good deal. Band plays for like half an hour, 45 minutes before the show starts, which is awesome. Like you never get to see that on the actual podcast. So really good band. And yeah, just got to hang out with these super fun dudes. And I bought all the drinks. And at the end of the night, they got my Venmo and they all Venmo'd me for not only their drinks, but my drinks. They paid for my drinks and their drinks. So I got a free Kill Tony ticket and free drinks all night with these dudes from Dallas. Shout out to you guys. Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. That is one hell of a story.
Yeah. So that was after. So this is my first. It was like, this is how I knew I was meant to be in Austin. Was the first week I got there. That weekend was ACL Fest. So it's Austin City Limits Fest. Like 400,000 people at a music festival. Went to Austin City Limits. So I went. I was like, I don't know if I want to go to Austin City. It's so expensive. I looked at tickets. They're like $300 for a day of general admission.
Oh wow.
Wild. So first night I went to like a dive bar. That's where I saw the horse. Awesome. Continental Club. Sick. Super sick place. Been around for like 70 years or something like that. It's like one of the oldest bars in Austin. And they do excellent live music, as you would expect in Austin. So excellent live music in a dive bar the first night. Second night went to a like rave. There's a sick rave scene there. So I went to a really good rave. Third night I finally like cracked her. Third day, Sunday, I totally cracked. And I was like, I'm just going to go to ACL Fest and see if someone's like selling the wristband. Sure as shit, got a wristband free. Got into ACL Fest for free with a wristband because someone was walking out as I was walking in. And I was just like, you using that? So I got into ACL Fest for free. Saw the big hitter that night was Tyler, the Creator. So I saw Tyler, the Creator that night. Saw a bunch of probably 5 of my bucket list artists, but he was one of them. I hadn't seen him yet. And then that Monday went to Kill Tony. And after that weekend, I was like, man,
this is my place.
This is my place.
You know what though? Every story I've heard about Austin, now that you're saying this, lines up with that's probably a really cool place for you.
Weird, man.
Yeah,
it's a weird place and excellent.
Yeah, that's like right up your alley.
I'm a weird dude, and it fits.
Yeah. Huh. So wait, was Kill Tony at the mothership?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
dude,
sick.
So good.
That's so. Who was the main guest?
Dude, so I'm not gonna lie, I don't even remember. The one guy was not like a big name that I would remember. It was a guy that was from the what was the club? What's the club in California that Joe Rogan started at?
The Laugh Factory? No.
It might have. No, what was the one before that? See, now I'm stretching. It was the original. Because Laugh Factory
wasn't the comedy club, right? No, it was.
No. It was Laugh Factory, the one where Mitzi's parents or Mitzi's mom.
The Sunset?
No, Sunset's on 6th Street.
Okay.
Yeah, Sunset Comedy Club is Sunset ATX.
I'm gonna remember this. I'm gonna remember this.
The dude who managed that club.
Oh, okay.
It might have been the Laugh Factory, but I don't know for sure.
I'm only going off of that because I know I've heard Rogan say the Laugh Factory so many times.
It just doesn't sound right. But it was that guy, and then the other dude was a little bit like out of my range in terms of comedy, so I'm having a hard time. He was actually super fucking funny, but I don't remember his name. So the guests were like, like I was like, I'm not like stoked on the guest, but the minutes that happened that night were fucking hilarious. If anyone's wondering, it was the Horse Girl episode. If you watch them regularly, it was like 2 episodes ago, is the Horse Girl. Fucking hilarious. That whole episode, every single minute that went up was just like, it can't get weirder than this, and it got weirder every single time.
I enjoy Kill Tony because you just don't know what you're gonna get.
You have no clue.
And some of the better episodes are actually the ones that like, this is a terrible night. Yeah. What is wrong with the hat here?
It was hilarious. And then they had all the heavy hitters. They had they had
who's the ginger guy that gets on there last?
That was the one that he wasn't there.
Oh really?
God, why am I blanking on everyone's name right now? Yeah, the crazy dude with big ginger hair. The assassin. I don't remember his name.
Anybody who watches Kill Tony though is going to know who that person is. I don't know his name either.
I watched 100+ episodes of Kill Tony, and I still don't. That shows you how big of a stoner I was up until this year.
Well,
so we're still making some new synapses connections.
That memory thing is coming back. How about that?
Yeah, it's getting there slowly. Very slowly. Yeah, give me like 20 minutes and those names will all come to me.
As soon as we turn the cameras off, all these names will come on.
Opened, and that was like, that was all I needed.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So Austin, this is kind of wild because before your ACL surgery, you were
I was like, because also you went through a phase job.
Well, that's
secure.
It. Yeah,
I'm good.
And I was really confused because that is not.
I'm just going to spend my life camping and on my state job. And to be fair, like
that was the last I heard. It's like I'm going to camp out of my truck for.
But I've known Alec long enough to know like that was actually the oddity time for you. Like in terms of,
yes and no. I think like all of it is part of who I am. Like I think I very much enjoy the idea of having a going through that period of my life was like, I actually do really enjoy just having free time to do whatever I want with my hobbies and to be able to have a job. And so like, to anyone's credit who has figured this out, like if you just have a job that provides you a stable income that's enough for you to live off of and be comfortable with, and you can, when 5 o'clock rolls around, you can just fucking forget about your job and just do you and do whatever you want to do. Like that is fucking sick. It's actually a really freeing experience to just not live and breathe work. It just turns out that I am really good at turning like the things that I love into work. So that just keeps happening to me and I keep getting pulled back into it. But that was like a very enjoyable period of my life. And there are carryovers from that are very much still there. Like I have now, I don't think you've seen it. I have like a really nice camper on the back of my truck
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I still will go out of my way to spend as much time as possible camping in the back of that truck. I love it. And like just getting away from the city and society and getting to spend time with yourself and reflecting on stuff, I think is really, really valuable. So I still actually enjoy that quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, it's like all balance and an ebb and flow, right? I'm sure at some point I'll come back to that.
So the going around and camping and doing the freelance stuff, you've kind of, but this new opportunity that's in Austin, from the sounds of it, really is Trump.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You haven't heard this one yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, the most I can really say about it is that I am so I've been into drones for like the past
ever.
Yeah, I mean, like really like the past. I mean, I've been into drones for like the past decade, but really got into it over COVID. Like when COVID happened, I got into like RC stuff. RC trucks was a big thing for me because it was like, dude, these are cool. You can actually spend a lot of time dicking around. You can have a garage full of RC trucks. You can spend a lot of time and not a lot of money on some really cool trucks. They're just 10th scale.
Yeah.
So you can't actually drive in them, but you can drive them. So I actually really enjoyed that, but that led me quickly down the rabbit hole of FPV drones. Cause like what's cooler than RC trucks? Just about everything, but specifically FPV drones. And that's still remote control. Like it's still all the same principles that you learn when you're building trucks, but like way cooler. And so I got into FPV drones like around the COVID era, and just I've been down that rabbit hole ever since in a big way. And then this opportunity came up. I was at a FPV racing event, and someone was like, "Hey, you should like reach out to this company. They're looking for good FPV pilots." And so I reached out to them, and here we are in Austin. I'm like starting a program to basically train FPV pilots, and I'm kind of on the ground level of that, and it's looking pretty good. We're in like seed funding right now. The evaluation is really, really good, like really promising. It's definitely the most promising startup that I've been a part of. And I will have an equity position in the company and a full-time role there. So that's what's taken me to Austin, but I'll still be managing my company. Like they're still allowing me to manage my company as well. It's a lot of the same, like the crossover, like a lot of the same skills are going to be employed. So I'm very grateful for them allowing me to like continue to run my own business, because they could totally say like, no, you're not allowed to do that. That's all ours. But they're letting me do it. So yeah, I'm going to keep running my business here, going to expand it to Austin. I've got a good base of clients here. I've got a couple of employees here. I'll start up kind of another chapter of it over there as well. This side of things here in Salt Lake's kind of hands off. So it just runs itself. So I'll do the same thing, try to stand it up and systematize it in the same way in Austin. So I'll have two kind of chapters of the business running. Hopefully that'll just make it even more lucrative. And all of that revenue that's coming in is just making it super comfortable for me to say like, yeah, screw it. I'll go to Austin. Like I've got nothing holding me back right now. So,
well, on any level, which is really cool. That's the exciting part.
Yeah.
This is awesome. And so did you have to go, Scott told me something, you did something with the military and drones. Like you were on a base that we couldn't call you. I don't remember why we needed to call you, but there was something about that. What happened with that?
Yeah, that's part of it. I can't go into too much of the details about it, but that's part of it.
So is this an actual like, so what can you tell us, I guess?
The company is a military contractor. And you can put two and two together. It's a military contractor, and we're doing drone stuff.
Ah, that's exciting.
Look
okay,
towards the appendix for Ukraine.
Really?
I mean, that's like a lot of countries are employing. Like this is becoming a big thing, right? And I don't want to be like a spokesperson for this because I literally can't be. But like it's becoming a big thing. Like war is shifting towards using these kind of more these like low cost drones, and that's kind of where this company's stepping in and saying, hey, we can do something with that.
So they're going to make gamers into weapons, effectively.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more like it's more the fact that drones are going to just kind of, I think they're just going to be prolific. Like they're prolific in a lot of areas already. And so I think this company's looking forward to like not just what can we do with like the military, but how can we like really push this technology out in every way possible. Yeah. And I think that they've got a first mover's advantage in the military area when it comes to like the American military. And so I think that's probably going to be a big push initially, but yeah, I think in the long run, like our goal is like drones everywhere. Everyone, like, just like you've got your your trusty guns at home. You're going to have your trusty FPV drone.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So are they developing these drones as well?
I can't talk too much about all that sort of stuff. Yeah. We're doing a lot of fun stuff. It's cool. Yeah.
You see that video of the drone that they made to fly along Max Verstappen?
No.
Oh, the 200-mile-an-hour, like crazy. Yeah, dude, that looks like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
Dude, so cool. There's actually, for anyone who's actually into FPV drones, there's a new video that came out 2 days ago. Joshua Bardwell is like one of the big FPV dudes in the space. And he just released a 200+ mile-an-hour drone build video. So you can actually buy now all the parts and pieces you need to build a drone that is like that crazy rocket ship. And also will capture 5K video for you while you're doing it.
That's insanity.
Yeah, while going 200 miles an hour.
Dude, the video where they made, if you haven't seen this, this was a prototype. Doing 200 miles an hour in a drone really hadn't been done. Certainly, and then make the corners that Max is making.
It's not easy. Like going 100 miles. You think like the jump from 100 miles an hour to 200 miles an hour doesn't seem like that much.
It's massive.
It's a huge like. It becomes exponentially more difficult to go faster. Like when you hit 130 miles an hour, like getting from 130 to 140 miles an hour is like exponentially more difficult. And then from 140 to 150, exponentially more difficult. So like getting to 200 miles an hour, you have like fine-tuned every fucking piece of that drone for speed.
Well, that's what I thought was so cool about that is they brought this drone to Red Bull Racing.
And they're like, we need that.
Hey, listen, come here. We've got some different materials. We can probably help you out with this.
Yeah. So like, you want to chase an F1 car? We're going to make it even faster.
What do you know about weight reduction? Come here.
Yeah. What's the range on that, though? Because if you're going 200 miles an hour,
you're going to get far away from yourself pretty quick.
Far away quickly.
The range on drones these days is pretty impressive. Like you can get 20K, 30 kilometers away from yourself. Yeah.
Well, that's the remote. What was cool is they barely had, like, for them to complete that, they just followed him for one lap.
The video starts. The video. So, and it's like common sense. You think about it, like your radio link is not transmitting very much data. Your radio link is transmitting like a very small amount of data. So much so that you can be on a really low frequency. So, like, quick radio lesson, super boring, but I'll make it as quick as possible. Low frequencies do not carry very much data, but they go a really long way. So your low frequencies are like really big waves. And you think about the ocean, if you got a really big wave, it's going to go for a long ways. But it can't carry much. Like the data that you can carry over 400 gigahertz or whatever is like really low. Going from that, the higher you go, the more data you can carry, but the smaller the wave gets, so the less far it can get. And so when you're talking about video transmission, you're talking about usually using like Wi-Fi. Like you've got so much data in video that you need like really high frequency, basically the same frequencies that Wi-Fi is using. And we don't think of Wi-Fi as something that can go very far.
Right.
So you just have to keep pumping power into it, but that only works for can only give you so much. It starts giving really diminishing returns. So yeah, the first thing that cuts out on any like drone is going to be video. You're going to lose video first because your control link can be pretty low frequency, low bandwidth, very redundant. You can send the same packets over control frequency like 4 times because it's such a small amount of data. But with video, it's like there's no redundancy to it, and it's a ton of bandwidth, and you're trying to send it a long ways. So
it's wildly fascinating what they were able to do, and but I think there was but the battery life on it too is like to go 200 miles an hour you're gonna spend some energy doing that, and they had to pack it all into this thing.
That's what's wild to me. Like the video's like cool, but like that technology to like send video, like. All of the technology's been around for a really long time. The power technology to actually get you to give you the thrust you need for that amount of speed is incredible, and that's something that's cutting edge. And then the other thing that's cutting edge is actually like the design of the drone itself. Like those two things in combination are what made that happen. Like the idea that you can use 8S, 12S, like giant, like 8 cells in series to provide like just shitloads of voltage And then you've got the electronics that can actually handle that. Like that's not something that you had 5 years ago.
No. I mean, in fairness to them, they also had the full extent of Red Bull Racing too.
Yeah.
And that's not low jack.
Like before, when RCs, like to make RCs go fast 10 years ago, you used fucking jets. Drones don't go fast. It's like the actual model jets. And those are using like incredibly expensive actual jets to achieve those types of speeds. And no one, I don't know why people don't do those. I'm sure there's a segment of people that are doing them FPV, but dude, that would be sick. That's like, I want to be in like a 300 mile an hour model jet in goggles. That sounds wild.
It'll happen. Somebody will do that one day.
They've got it. People are doing it, especially like with the head tracking technology that's coming around. Like DJI has their own head tracking thing now where it's on a gimbal. So wherever you look, the camera looks.
What?
You put that in the cockpit of a model jet. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh man, speaking of this, did you see, I don't know where it was on, but they did a big, huge study on the eyes of Formula One drivers.
Oh, no.
Do you know that when they go around, and there's no way they could train for this, right? But they were tracking the eye movement of Formula One. Now, that's part of the gig. You're talking about 20 humans with the fastest reaction time that they can find.
Yeah.
Okay? The crazy part is their eyes, they all blink at almost the exact same time. Okay? They all have the same looking ability, like where they look and how they're going into corners and whatnot. If you tracked all of their eyes, it's all within milliseconds of each other. And they purposely hold their eyes open up for a whole long time, but they all blink at the same time. They all look in the same direction. And like one thing that Formula One drivers can do is if they're going straight down the road, they can check their mirror and get the data that they need. Like the milliseconds that they can do that is just insanity. Like they're not average humans in any way, shape, or form. It's pretty cool.
That is crazy. I love when people look at Formula One and they're like, that looks so easy.
Oh my God. No.
Yeah, right. What are you talking about, bro?
Not to mention it has to be one of the most physically demanding.
Yeah. The amount of G's.
That you're maintaining for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Exhausting.
I wonder how many G's you're going through when you're going through.
They'll go 3.5, 4.
Jesus.
But constant.
That's the thing. Like,
right.
People are like, oh, I'm like fighter jets. It's like, bro, fighter jets, I'm maintaining like that amount of G's for seconds.
Right.
You guys are doing it for hours.
Yeah, because once you plane out in a plane, you're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, Kid
again.
Right. Yeah. It's constantly moving and then braking and accelerating.
Yeah.
In a jet, you're not gonna have
race cars, dude.
I do too. I'm such a Formula One fan these days.
What about Formula E? You get into that at all?
The only Formula, in my opinion, there's two things that make Formula One really cool. You can't deny the sound of the engine. Oh yeah. Okay, like you just can't. And when there's no sound, it doesn't sound like racing.
Distract from it for sure.
The second thing that Formula One specifically has really done, the production value of watching it. Like if you compare it to NASCAR, it's not even on the same playing field. It's the way that they present the information. Like they really put a focus on the engineering behind it. Yeah. It is actually a team. It's way cooler to watch.
I agree.
And none of the other racings. Name another race that you're going to watch.
It just puts so much money behind it.
This is how I knew that Formula One was like the shit, is when I started getting like Snapchats or like Instagram messages, and it's like girls are at Formula One races. It's like, there's something here.
Yeah.
We have something. If we can convince the hot girls to come to a race, we got the sauce.
There's a line. You ever see the movie Rush? Right. Yeah. The manager, whatever he is, kind of the plump guy, right? He's like, there's one thing that the test of time will always be true. Men love cars. And he's like, you know what? You're right. Yeah. The fastest machines that you can possibly have. Plus my own driving style forever. I'm way more into cornering and how you maneuver the carve than just producing power for power's sake.
For sure.
It's everything else. It's the
downforce.
downforce.
Cool part about like everything that Rob was doing. I really like the drifting side of things as well. Like that is, I think there's something really cool about that. Like that's power, but then you're controlling the power in such a specific way. Yeah. I love that.
Oh, so speaking of Rob, his episode. Check this out.
He was on a podcast.
He was on. I just had him on, just barely. His episode.
And gentlemen, watch that podcast.
Yeah. Oh, buddy, we got, of course. But he is married. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, you did tell me that.
So he's married.
That was a massive
mind
shock
blowing.
when you told me that the first time.
And they want to have a kid. This isn't funny to anybody else, except for
racing?
Huh?
You gonna keep motorcycle?
So
racing?
check this out. So he is moving to Japan for an undisclosed amount of time. He is already signed up. He's got all of his licensing. Okay. This is happening. He is racing in 2 different circuits in Japan. He is doing a class that they can't race with here. So he's doing, I think he told me all this, when Rob goes down it's a motorcycle of some.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. It's a 2-stroke of some sort and it's really fast. But no, he's moving to Japan. He's got a couple of drift events that he's going to do out there. He's going out with Moser and he's going to stay with him. They're going to do a whole tour around Japan and live out there for a year or so and see what happens.
Love it.
But yeah, he's still racing. He finished, got 4 championships this year.
Dude, what?
Yeah. Yeah, he's still going.
Talented dude.
And resilient. You cannot deny that body has been through some shit.
Been through hell.
Yeah. And he's still really going.
Cool. I'm sure that's also really good in the sense that it's probably given him the getting back to racing has given him a reason to really get in shape.
For him, yes.
Well, yeah. Rob shape.
Yeah. But no, he does.
Top fitness for Rob.
He's really diving into the diet too.
Nice.
Which he's always kind of cared about.
Yeah.
Right. But he's really into it now.
Nice, man.
But he's doing good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
Racing's so much fun. I was just saying, right out here on the corner, right when you get off the highway, there's the grid. You heard of that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. The go-kart racing.
It's on my bucket list that Scott and I, we're going. That's what we're doing.
Next time I'm in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come down and we'll go to the grid.
That'd be super sick.
I didn't tell you this.
Shifter card?
Yeah, shifter cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sick, dude.
Yeah. Go down and have a little fun.
You got to come to actually in Alpine. That's where a lot of the FPV racing happens, and it is in Alpine. So you're pretty close. Next time we do a race, you should stop by. It's kind of gonna be down for winter, obviously now, but come next season, I'll be back up here racing for sure.
What does this look like? Is it can you see the drones racing, or is it?
You can see blurs of light, but the cool part is we've got a giant flat screen TV, and we have a receiver that's specifically designed for racing that can pick up everyone's video channels at the same time. Okay. So you've got a TV that you're seeing everyone's first person view at the same time.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta ask this. So when this all started for you going down to Austin, you said you saw him at a race.
Yeah.
Were you winning?
No.
What?
Dude, FPV racers are wild. I will never beat the 13-year-olds that I race against. Ever. Their fast twitch is absurd. And it's not like an F1 driver where you need to sustain G's and all this shit. It's dude, if you've got good fast twitch, if your fingers work fast and your fingers are connected to your brain in a really fast way, that's all you need. So I'm good. I'm decent, but I was not winning. I was probably second or third place on that race.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. That's kind of cool.
These kids are just
they're wild. Well, the 13-year-olds are insane.
The video games, what they're learning in these with their hand-eye finger coordination, right?
And you just can't maintain it. You will your hand-eye coordination will degrade as you get older, and for those kids, it's just at the peak. It's at the prime. That 13 to 16-year-old fast twitch doesn't get better than that.
Somebody was on Rogan. I don't remember who said this, but they're saying that doctors that play video games have surgeons specifically.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a 30% more success rate.
I want a surgeon.
The stats that they were throwing around on this are absolutely wild. 30% more, better surgeon, less mistakes, less all that stuff if they play video games.
Yeah, huh. I want to see your Call of Duty rank. Give me your.
It was another game that they were.
Before we get started.
Yeah, can I just take a look at your PlayStation Network?
I can't remember what game they were talking about though. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, play video games if you want to be a surgeon. That's the punchline.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Crazy what this world's coming to, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's all the scholarships for the gaming.
Oh yeah,
craziness.
We're gonna destroy ourselves though. The idea that we can just keep staring at screens consistently. like, and not have any detrimental impacts from that. Like that is, we're screwed,
there's
man.
No one to do the actual work.
Because even like in goggles, like in FPV goggles, or if you're like playing a video game, when you're looking at that screen, your eyes are actually not focused on anything besides the screen. So like we have all these depth perception changes that happen, but it's just mental. It's not like the muscles in your eyes aren't actually doing anything. That's why that's why all of us have to wear glasses now, is because you're staring at screens and you're staring at something for such a long period of time, and your muscles aren't, your eye muscles aren't changing. They aren't like going back and forth like they should be. And we're just screwing our eyes up super bad because of that.
That's really interesting that you said that, because nobody talks about your fast twitch muscles in your eyes being a muscle that you need to exercise.
Yeah, you do.
But I can tell you, like, seeing the ball, like a baseball, right?
Yeah.
You're judging milliseconds.
Oh, yeah.
And at one time, but part of this is practice, but part of it is like, I don't know, you do end up losing that somewhere.
I've been trying to be more, because I know how much I have to stare at screens. Like I try to be really intentional about it, and daily, like do exercises where like you hold your finger out here, you focus on your finger, then you focus on the wall, then you focus on your finger, you focus on the wall, and just try to do that for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like really try to build up the muscle as much as you can if you have time for it. It's good, especially like if you're staring at screens all day. So you can't escape it. That's the world we live in. But if you can,
no, there is truly no getting around it.
Yeah,
it is what it is. But to your point, I do believe that there's going to be there's always going to be a market for the one that is willing to do the physical stuff too.
Right.
And the more 100%. That everybody else wants to go and play video games,
then that becomes more valuable.
More valuable over on this side.
That's why
no
the
difference.
Are so valuable.
100%.
Right yeah,
if I had a son right now, like seriously, plumber or electrician, pick
like,
one.
Yeah. Like if you lag by a decade, you don't know what's going to happen. You tell, like, that's the shitty part in my mind, is like you tell your son like, yeah, you get into the trades, and he's like 13, and by the time he's 23, things have totally shifted. It's like, dude, how do you look?
But they're not coming back. But the thing, I can tell you in firsthand knowledge for plumbers right now.
Yeah.
Okay. If you are a plumber in New York, you can damn near write your own ticket for whatever you want.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because the regulation, the cost of entry is so high.
I wonder how many people are seeing that right now and going like, and by the time, like what's going to happen, you just don't know. Like what's going to happen in a decade? How many people right now are in a job where they're staring at a screen and they fucking hate it? Mm-hmm. And they see this opportunity right now where they're like, I could go into the trades and make bank. And then a decade from now, all of a sudden, the pendulum has swung the other direction. That's the beauty of life, man.
But it still comes down to the person. If you, it's one thing to be a plumber.
Right.
What I am saying is go be a plumber, and then we'll build you a business.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's a whole different aspect than just being a plumber and you can make your $50 an hour.
The work 100%. Ethic, you have to teach them how to work, right, and then have a business background.
Right.
That's kind of the irony of it, though, is like you like go into this trade and you spend all this time and you're like, yeah, I'm working with my hands, I'm doing all this stuff, and then like a decade passes and you're back on the fucking computer.
Yep.
Like running your own business. Guess what this is?
Back
payroll, baby.
Yep.
Got to figure out how to hire people.
Sucks. Good luck.
Get on that glass door.
We're trying to he's making this shift. He doesn't quite know it yet, but you're making this shift to the screens again.
He doesn't know it yet.
To screens again.
Yep. He's going back to the screens too, for the same reason that you're talking about. But in the same breath, it is nice and climate controlled in here. So
there are benefits to it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, spending time. Actually, it's been nice down in Texas. Like, well, it gets like this time of year, it's perfect. But dude,
just wait. Just wait. You'll get there.
Our shop doesn't have like an AC unit in it yet. And I first week I was there, it was hot as fuck there. It was like 97. And that's not even hot for Austin. They're like, oh, it's pretty mild right now. I'm like, I am melting. And I looked at like one of my coworkers, like kind of my equivalent at the shop right now. And I was like, dude, we need AC in here. Like, and I'm not going to press you on it right now, but if this doesn't happen by next summer, I'm walking. Like, this is a problem.
Well, you get 97 and then you get a sprinkle, just enough humidity to drive you absolutely insane. It's a whole different ballgame. The most sunburnt I have ever been was my first year in pro ball. I went out, it was in Fort Worth, and we went out and I didn't, I didn't wear sunscreen or anything like that. It was so bad. I couldn't move for 2 games after that. Like played through some of the most excruciating pain, and then it became a ritual to put sunscreen on. Like it was part of my uniform.
I mean, you take one look at me, you know that I do not handle the sun well. And like I've spent enough time near the equator on vacations and stuff. I've learned my lesson the hard way many, many times, and I don't make that mistake anymore. Like you can check any travel bag I have. Sunscreen.
Yep. I've got 3 on the bike.
Through TSA, it's going to be a deodorant stick of sunscreen. It's gonna be like, you're not throwing this shit away, motherfucker.
I will bring the solid one. Thank you very much.
We went to Australia, and it's different.
Dude,
the sun's different.
It is.
Yeah.
We went to the beach. We had this little Airbnb, and it was like, there's the beach. So we were like, oh, we'll just walk out and maybe spend an hour. We were just kind of hanging out. We laid in the sand. Maybe an hour. Get back, go to bed, wake up, and I've never been that. It was so bad. We went surfing. I took surfing lessons. I wore the suit.
Oh no!
Shed my skin like a gecko into the suit. Dude, I was just throw the suit away. Sunburnt. I was like, "Sorry, dude. Here's your suit back."
Oh no!
The worst, dude, it was the worst.
That is weird because it is different. So in Texas, it was 95 and sunny. Yep. Like deservedly, I got sunburned.
Oh, yeah.
But the other one the second sunburn that I had was in California, in San Diego. And it was
cloudy.
It was cloudy.
Yeah, dude. It doesn't.
What?
Care.
I had a sweatshirt
Clouds
on.
Don't provide UV protection.
I had a sweatshirt on. I just had my swim trunks. We went out to the beach, and it was kind of cold. My feet were so sunburnt. I couldn't put flip flops on. I was walking through the airport just like no. Was there for a bachelor party, and the alcohol took over my common sense. That's what happened.
You knew better, but you didn't know better.
I didn't know better. I thought, oh, no, clouds are out here. We're going to be fine.
I
was very wrong.
The skin also.
Does it? Oh, dude, I don't know if you've ever had the top of your feet.
No, it affects the skin.
Oh, it affects the skin.
There's something about it. If you're
makes your skin weaker.
Yeah, it's your blood
boils
thinner,
you from the inside.
Blood's thinner, I guess, right? So I don't know if that affects.
Yeah, maybe.
Here's one for you. Speaking of sunburns, supposedly, if you cut seed oils out of your diet, you won't sunburn.
All right.
You and I.
All right.
There's no way.
I'm going to sunburn regardless of what.
I'm just saying that's the latest. And there's data behind this.
Sneeze and I get sunburned.
You know who you're talking about, Mr. Redbeard himself. Hi,
that's fair.
We're all here.
Yeah,
yes,
that's fair.
We're all here.
Wow, what an anomaly.
Huh. Actually, statistically, this is a rare room right now.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting. Lots of soul in here, though.
We're sucking it from everywhere else.
Oh shit, Alec, that's freaking cool, man.
Thanks, man.
This is awesome. This is one hell of an update.
You're glowing, man.
Oh,
like it's not a.
Appreciate that.
Big year.
Yeah,
proud of you.
Thank you. No, it's cool. It's like it's just luck more than anything. Like preparation meets opportunity type of thing. Like I'm just more lucky than anything else. Things aligned this way, and I think that's.
Well, the timing of it is...
I can't take credit for most of it. Like I just am here. I'm just along for the ride.
But being open to the opportunity, having the open mindset, and doing the work,
and even that, man, like it's like I can keep peeling back layers, and every time I peel back a layer, it's like, oh, I didn't do that. This guy did that, and I didn't do that. This guy did that, and like all these other influences in my life were really what like had to stack up to get to this point. And if I didn't meet these people at this time and like have them influence my life, like it wouldn't have turned out the way that it did. And I think the only thing that I can really take credit for is just my like initiative to take the ball and run with it. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah. That's all you can really do in life, right?
It's a big part.
Take the ball and run with it. That's fair. But I think like it's I don't know, like it's just so simple. Like it's not like a hard thing to do. Like nothing I've done has been like difficult. It's just like people tell me that like, this is a good idea, and I'm like, sounds like a good idea. I'll try that.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And then I try it. It's like, that works.
Well, I think you've got the right, you've got the right energy, you've got the right work ethic, and you've managed to, you're not burdened down, you're not hung up by anything. So if an opportunity comes,
for sure, is just, and again, timing.
Yeah.
Like tearing my ACL, canceled,
right on time.
Tearing my ACL caused me to move in with my parents for a short period of time. Moving in with my parents for a short period of time helped me realize like the lease I was in was not a good lease. Like it was just, I wasn't like surrounded by the right people. Got me to cancel that lease, got me to start like traveling and doing more freelance work because I was just like, I need to save up money, get a house. And then like I saved up money and now I'm sitting here like, opportunity struck to go do this other thing. I've got money saved up. I don't have a lease. Everything worked. So,
and that
stay with your parents when you're 25. It'll work out for you.
But also being open to it and seeing these things coming. By the same token, you are perceptive and you are watching for these opportunities to come your way as well.
Yeah, and I mean at the same time, like we're definitely just like grinding, like nose to the grindstone, working on my own business paid off big time because like I would be a lot if I was just living off of my normal like 9-to-5 salary right now. Like I'd be a little less comfortable to make the jump, but just knowing like that I've got like good steady income stream from my business and I've got a lot saved up because of it. Like most of my savings right now come from that. So it's like that helped a lot with it. And I feel like I can at least take credit for that, saying like, yeah, that was me. But that was also a decade of me failing before I figured stuff out. So,
well, that's also true.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to fail a lot.
Yeah. No matter what you're in, and you can get all the good advice you want, but if you don't implement it, it doesn't mean shit.
That's true.
This year, like really the last 3 years were me like listening to a lot of good advice and not implementing any of it. And then this year it's like, I'm going to just start implementing stuff. And that's all it took.
Huh. It's been cool, man. This is awesome. I can't wait to we're gonna have to do catch ups with Alec on your return trips
for sure.
Because this is gonna be kind of fun to listen to and watch unfold. Because I feel like Texas is a breeding ground for opportunity. I think you're gonna do well down there.
Yeah, it's a cool place. Yeah, and I've been doing a lot of networking when I've been down there already. Like I've met just in my off time, met quite a few business owners that I'm already like striking up conversations with. So
that's awesome. Started. That's awesome. Man, Alec, thank you so much for coming on, dude. It's been a minute. Like I said, it could have been a year or 1 minute. I'm not 100% sure. So
I literally was trying to peg a time on it. And I feel like, I mean, what, pre-September? Right?
Well, like, I don't think we physically saw each other since Scott got in his wreck.
Yeah, before that. Like,
so it had to be before that.
And that was
That was August.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. I want to say it was the 14th because I want to say it was like 2 days after my birthday that happened. Yeah.
That's wild.
So, but it's one of those things, not intentional, it just happens.
No, dude. And that's how you've got like when you've got a really good friend, when you can just like get back with them after the first time this like last year when we hadn't talked for God knows how long.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, we're just driving again. It's good.
Yeah.
Everything is as business as usual.
Yeah. Still doing. Then we do the recaps, and
that's how you know you got good friends.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, man, really appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much.
It's been an awesome time having you on. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this episode, you know the drill. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Catch you on the flip side.